بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the R2F show. Thank you for everybody for joining. We'll probably have more people signing on and joining us as we go. We're doing this pop-up show. It's going to be a very good show, inshallah. Just a few logistical things before we get into the actual show. If you have any questions or comments, please type them into the chat. I know a lot of people like side messaging us hosts to get their questions answered or answered like they're skipping the line or whatever, which is it's kind of distracting during our show because we had a lot of messages flooding in. If you could please type your messages into the chat, that way even if we don't get to them, other people can see them and benefit from them. We're going to post a link that at the end of the show, and we do take questions. If you want to come on and actually ask a question, you could do that, but we ask that those questions be very short and succinct and get to the point. We're not having anybody come on the show and give speeches and all that. So with that, we're going to get right into it. We've got an interview discussion that we're going to have with Saeed Mudassar Gillani. And he's here in the backstage, and I just want to remind our viewers to please wait. If you have questions, take notes. We're going to take them at the end. And we're just going to get right into it. So we like to welcome Saeed Mudassar Gillani to the show. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
So we're gonna jump right into it. Is there, just for our audience, because so we have some viewers that may not know, they may not actually understand or know what Tmoa is. They may not understand what your role or what your position is as far as the Muslims of the Americas. So tell us a little bit about yourselves for our viewers.
So my name is Mudassar Gillani, and I'm the son of the deceased leader of the Muslims of America. And I'm basically using this platform to convey a message to the members of the Muslims of America who I am not a part of anymore. Mm-hmm. And hopefully the main purpose is to answer some of your questions about my father. Many people believe that he misguided a lot of people. He did a lot of wrong. So I'm hoping by the end of this interview, we can come to a conclusion. And I will try my best to answer all the questions, and we'll see where it goes from there. I do have a few more things I want to discuss, but this is just my introduction at this moment.
Okay. Yep. And again, we're totally open. Like, this is your show. Like, whatever you want to discuss, you can go into. Whatever you don't want to discuss, just let us know.
No.
We want to make sure that we cover everything that you want us to cover as well. And we'll try to answer, get as many questions answered as possible. So tell us a little bit about just like your growing up in Tmoa, in Mubarak Gillani's, your father's house in Pakistan, because a lot of people, especially in America, in the group in America, don't really know what that's like from your perspective. Like, we know what it's like from our perspective as being members living in America and kind of being disconnected from what actually goes on in Pakistan. So tell us how that goes from your perspective of coming up inside of Tmoa.
So when I grew up, I was not familiar with most of how the community was being run in abroad. So we used to have members visit us, and the members used to believe that their belief was that they loved the Prophet ﷺ and they were willing to do anything for the Prophet's family or for the sake of the Prophet ﷺ. So they used to come to Pakistan hoping to get educated about Islam, whatever they were able to learn. And whatever they did, my father tried, whatever knowledge he had, he tried to give it to them. And what else? Other than that, I get a little nervous on interviews because I'm an introvert, but I'm going to try my best to answer all the questions. But So growing up, I didn't know much about the Muslims of America, what all was happening abroad, because we were not familiar with nothing at all what's happening in the Jamaat. I knew everything what was happening in Pakistan, which I believe what was happening was nothing really bad. The youngsters used to come, they used to go on hiking trips, they used to try their best fixing their salah, they used to do zikr, what the Sufi I mean, the Sufi Firqa teaches them. So
Right.
the TMO is Sufis, and this is what all they used to learn, and a
Mhm.
lot more other things. You can ask questions and I'll answer. This is all I can say
Yeah.
right now.
Okay. Well, that's good. So it is. So when you're over there, like when people came, did they treat you differently than say your companions or your friends or family in Pakistan would treat you? Because I know like on our end, like we were always like trained to like, you guys are like very special, holy
Yep.
people. Not like yes, you're Ahlul Bayt, but it was like you're actually more special than Ahlul Bayt because you're the family of Mubarak Gillani.
Yes, there's something I learned about all of that when I visited the States.
Mm,
Before, the people used to come and act like we are some special, I'm not sure what. They used to ask us whatever you need, we'll give it to you, we will give our lives. I never believed none of that, but
mm,
they used to say anything possible. They just
yeah,
used to believe that these are the special people. We just got to praise them, we got to take care of them, we got to feed them, and all of that. And that's kind of how we grew up. The people
yeah,
used to come from abroad and literally come and tell us that we're yours. What do you want? So
yeah,
that was
yeah,
the kind of the mentality before.
yeah. Was that at all any like was it like awkward for you and your siblings being treated like
When
that
I
or
was young, because I was
Mhm.
pretty young at that time, so it was not
Yeah.
awkward. It was just like, oh, someone's coming. I want gifts. I want that. So we were used to
Mm,
that lifestyle. Gifts come in, toys come in, candies come in, and all of that. So we were not aware of all what was happening in the background or all those
gotcha.
things. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense because like how would you know? Like this is just
yep.
yeah, exactly. So when you did come like when you did come to America, um, how was that being like encountering like this newness? Like now you're kind of like realizing like the other side of it. Like tell me a little bit about that experience.
So I can still recall the day I entered America. So we came to Islamburg. All the people lined up the roads, gave me gifts, anything anybody can imagine. I had it.
Mhm,
They gave me a lot of stuff, and I was not wowed by all the things because we grew up with a lot of things around us. So
mhm,
I reached Islamburg and I was like, I want to go to Canada. I want to go and work. My first thing was I want to go and start working or studying. So my father was like, if you want to go to America, you got to do these two, three things. And
mhm,
in 3 days, I left Islamburg because it's something just was never fitting in me. I just saw how the people were acting, how praise was going on, and even the people know it. The admins also know it. I never got along with the admins from day one. They all know
mhm,
that. When I entered America, they put me in Shura Council chat group, and day two, I heard that Khalifa Rashid is down by the masjid in Islamburg, and he has guns on him, and he's
mhm,
shooting in the air because there's a fight going on. So I write to the Shura Council that what you all are doing is totally wrong because this is a Islamic community. You shouldn't have people walking around with guns. This has been gangster. I
yeah.
kind of told them off, and then they kicked me out of Shura Council. So I
Oh
was in
wow.
Shura Council only for 3 days, and I left Islamabad to Canada after that.
Oh wow. Now,
With all of my majority of my gifts were left in Islamabad. I gave them
mhm.
away. Anything I got, my whole goal was at the end. I just used to give it away. I never kept anything to myself.
So it's safe. Is it safe to say that like this the way that people treated you and like try to like prop you up, you were like uncomfortable with it from the beginning?
Yep, I used to tell my family as well, my wife. I was like, what all these people are doing, this is not gonna stay for too long. This is just
Mhm.
temporary because it's always impossible. It never
Yeah.
happens. So that guy, and it happened. You can see
Yeah.
first they were giving their lives, and now they're trying to take my life.
Yeah.
So it happened.
Very ironic. Yes. So like when we go back and then we're gonna get to it at some point, but like you talk about the administration and how like the Shura Council and we'll talk about how that is now. But like when you were in Pakistan, kind of growing up, like how you said you guys always had nice things and all
Yep.
that. What did like your father and your mother, what did you guys do as far as like how to like earn money? Like what was like the how did you guys get money to get all those things?
So because my father's father, my grandfather was a politician,
Mm-hmm.
he was a political leader. So the people who are in presidency right now of Pakistan, the Nawaz Sharif and Shabazz Sharif family, they
Mm-hmm.
used to be under him. He started that party, which is the Muslim League. So he was the
Okay.
president of that party at that time. He was a very wealthy man of his time.
Yeah.
He owned property worth of millions of dollars, but 90% of his property
Mm-hmm.
he gave it away. He was not an Islamic scholar. He was a
Mm-hmm.
normal guy who loved politics, and he used to establish communities. So where we live is a place where he came in Pakistan, was established, and he gave away 90% of his property and kept 10%. And then Abu used to get rent from his property, and he had small businesses such as he had houses on his name. He used to get rent, and then at the end of the day, money used to come from abroad, which was
Mm-hmm.
being used for good as well,
Yeah.
and maybe being used for personal expenses. But at
Okay.
those times, it was a different time of era. Like the technology was not advanced. There was no social media. There was
Mm-hmm.
no Cash App. There was no Western Union. So even though 25 years back there was money coming and going, it was not what has been happening for the past 15, 20 years.
Okay. Okay. And so like when you're growing, like your mother, as far as we know, is
Yes.
the first wife from the Tmoa
Yes.
community of your father. And
Yes.
like growing, so when you're growing up, and then tell us about like when Noor comes in, like into the picture, into your family.
I was, I think, 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
I can recall that she came, and when they got married, I was right there as well. I didn't know what was happening, and
Mm-hmm.
everything was fine when she got married. Nothing had changed. It was just
Okay.
she got married, and there was another mother in the house.
Okay, because there's a lot of like people like to speculate, and and we try to stay away from it, but there's always like, oh, she came and her agenda was to take over and be the number one
Not
wife.
at that moment. I won't say
Okay,
at that moment because she was really young.
gotcha.
Taking over takes experience. You gotta
Mhm.
watch movies. You gotta read books.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yep.
at
Yeah.
that time, she was a kid. I think she was 16 years old or something.
Okay. And what about? I guess the next one would be Shabana. Like,
Shabana,
you're a
yes.
little bit older at that time, and you got kind
Yep.
of like see what's going on.
Yep.
Was there anything that stood out about that when that marriage happened? About maybe her coming into the family, the dynamics, how that worked?
It was I because that marriage happened when Abu was up in the mountains,
Okay.
and I was in the city. I didn't know about the marriage. We just heard that Abuji got married, and because Abu had multiple marriages in his lifetime, it was nothing surprising for us when he was getting a second wife or a third wife. It was between the
Gotcha.
wives if they had any problems, but I'm not sure what the reason was behind all of that. Because I was young, I was up in my own things. I was a
Okay.
biker and all of that, so I was not at that moment when Shabana got married. I was older and I was out with friends and all of that. So at that
Okay.
moment also I didn't know much.
Gotcha. All right. So just and correct me if I'm wrong. So like it seems like your family like comes from money. Your grandfather was a politician, and
Yes.
like I don't really know how how it works in Pakistan. So like and does there like income and stuff associated with being like a politician in Pakistan, where like that gave an opportunity to buy all these properties and get
So
wealth?
because my my father was also born before the independence of Pakistan. He was born in 1936.
Okay.
So my grandfather was one of the founding fathers of Pakistan with Qaid-e-Azam, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and all of them.
Okay.
So all these leaders, when Pakistan was separated from India, they all got certain areas that you go over here, you go over there,
Oh, okay.
something like that. I don't know the whole history. So he had maybe miles of property. He was supposed to get people from far, far away and make them settle over there. So
Gotcha.
that's kind of how we inherited
Okay.
all the
And then that
properties.
builds up the wealth with the rental properties and
Yes.
people come and
Yep.
starting. Okay. Okay. Got it.
All right, so to tie the timeline, then how old are you now, Brother Mudassar?
I didn't hear what you just said.
You got like an echo going on.
Yep.
I was asking, yeah, I do got an echo. I'm basically trying to ask how old are
How
He's
old am
asking.
I?
Yeah. Yeah. He's asking how old are you? Yeah.
34.
34.
just trying to tie the timeline then with what you were saying. I don't know what's going on.
I can't hear him. What is his name?
Yeah. He's got an echo going on. Maybe I don't know. Maybe turn your volume down a little bit.
I
I
have
don't know.
headphones on. So.
So, alhamdulillah, real quick, before we kind of move off of like the whole Pakistan era, I'm just
This one
curious
was
about how like your like education, like as far as, because one of the things a lot of people mention is how much like Islamically your father
Oh,
had
okay.
taught them. And a lot of these people never met him, but like as far as Islamically, um, can you expound on some of the things that your father has taught you, like Islamically?
So most my father used to tell us always to read the Holy Quran with translation. So that's we have read the Holy Quran a lot with translation, and I have got my own Islamic knowledge when I came to Canada and I studied world religion. I studied Islamic studies as well. So, and other I have learned from different ulamas such as Mufti Musa Menk. There's ulamas in Pakistan as well. So I do go through their videos. I learn from them. I don't have a certificate or anything, but Islamically, I know the basics. I know what we should follow, what we shouldn't do, what is wrong, what is right. I know those minor things, but I'm not an Islamic scholar, just a normal human being trying to live a normal life. That's all I am.
Alhamdulillah. Because yeah, I mean, we've seen some of your videos and some of your
Oh, okay.
posts or whatever, and it seems like that you have a good, Alhamdulillah, good grasp on Islam and the basics. So it's we're not really challenging that. We're just trying to get an idea of, like, as far as because you mentioned some shuyukhs that you have learned from,
Yes.
that we recognize those names, Alhamdulillah.
Yep.
But we're just trying to figure out, like, as far as some of these Islamic sciences or anything that your um, father taught you. So I
Oh,
mean, would
okay.
it be safe to say that as far as your Islamic knowledge, what you have learned, it was from people other than your father?
Through him, because he was our father was way older. Because when I was born, he was mostly 60 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and he had multiple families. He had a whole jamaat to run. The knowledge he taught us, the main things he always told us to make namaz and read Quran, which I'm saying the basics are. He used to give us books to read. Whatever he was able to do, he tried. But as a youngster, I didn't want to learn Islam at that moment. I was
Yeah.
going and doing my own thing. So he did try. I know that much. But whatever he could have done, he tried his best.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Whatever I learned,
sounds like all of our parents, actually. They
yeah,
try,
whatever I learned is when I got older and when I moved to North America, I would say.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have any like? Did you used to like go to like Jummah prayer with your father, like you and Sultan and
Yeah,
your
yeah,
family? Okay. Okay.
all the
Just
time.
curious, just get like some backstory here, because some people believe your father never went to Jummah at all. So just to get some,
Never
never, like
Yeah,
they
some
believe that,
this.
like,
yeah, we're
yes,
trying to like get like
yeah,
paint the picture, because a lot of people come in with these speculations and
yeah,
ideas which are unfounded. They're like,
mm-hmm,
yeah, he never did this, he never did that, and
yeah,
we try our best to, because a lot of people, like, because of our videos, our content, a lot of people, oh, they're just mad, they're enemies, and this and that. We try our best with Allah's help to just convey the truth, and whatever that truth is, and we're gonna accept it. So, like, we haven't had a person on our show that could speak to the actual truth of like what actually went on over there. So
yeah,
people come up with all these stories, whether it be to the left or to the right, and we just want people to understand like what is actually the truth.
mhm,
So how my father, because my great grandfather was also a saint known in Pakistan. His name was Pir Anayat Ali Shah Sahab, and his shrine is also within Hazrat Miami Shrine. And
Okay.
his father, so being a peer, we call it, not an Islamic scholar, being a peer's mission is to get people and try his best to teach them Islam to the best of his knowledge, make sure they're following, they're practicing Muslims, they're making namaz, they're reading Holy Quran. So in our family in Pakistan, there's multiple peers. Like my father is not the only one who is the sheikh. All of his cousins are sheikhs. All of them are doing something. They have their talibs. Some don't. Some believe in that we are nobody. We're just Muslims. There's other different types of, I would say, sheikhs in our family, and I guess yeah.
So,
All right, let me say something.
go ahead.
I know I still got an echo, but Brother Mudassar, can you adjust the camera a little bit? I see a reflection in this picture in the back, and we want to be sure to keep the privacy of your family.
Turn off the mic. One
Can you
second.
do
The small one,
if you
small
go
one.
to the settings on the bottom, you could blur your background, I think.
Yeah. So, Mudassar, he was just trying to say that, like, I think one of your family members can be seen off the reflection in the mirror or
That's what
the
I'm
the
saying.
Oh,
window
in the
behind you.
mirror.
So
Oh,
we
okay,
don't we
okay.
don't want her to be exposed or
Yeah, yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll change that over here.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Yep, works. So in this, I don't want to go too far because we're just trying to paint the picture. But like as far as like what you've learned now, like when you started studying, when you actually, when you're young, when we're all young, we want to do whatever we're doing, and we're not focused on that. But like learning now, is there anything that you learn now, particularly with like like the shrines and like the concept of like, okay, this guy's a peer, my cousin's a peer, he's a saint. Like what is like your position now with regards to that? Because like one of the things that pops in my head when I hear that is, okay, well, who determines that this person's a peer or a saint?
Yeah.
So
So I view these things as that because when the Prophet Prophet left the world, his last sermon was that I've completed your deen for you. So there's nothing you can take out or you can put in. And after he passed away, and when different firqas began, and especially in Pakistan and India, there's a lot of shrine culture, which really and truly the ulamas now, because of social media, the ulamas can send their message out to the people who were not able to get the message before, because Pakistan is a third world country, and they're trying to tell the people that going to shrines, building shrines, or looking for sheikhs or peers will not benefit you in any way, because at the end of the day, when you die, you have to answer your own questions. There's no one who's going to come and help you or save you. So my also belief is that anybody who wants to go to a shrine and build a shrine, that's their problem. But in Islam, if they do want to go back to the Quran and Sunnah, which we should, this is what I've learned from ulamas as well. They say whenever you fall into a problem, you go and open the books of the Prophet ﷺ, which is the Sunnah. And all the answers are there, because he lived the best life and he lived the most tough life. So every single answer to our life is over there. We just open those books, and if it's not in those books, we should try our best not to do it.
Yeah.
And Allah Ta'ala is the one to judge us at the end.
I mean, so as far as you know, like your father was older at that time, and even me not being that old, like it's hard to like navigate, like, okay, I got to teach my children this and make sure they learn that and all that. But as far as you know, like because people from over here would strive to go to Pakistan to learn Islam from your father, because we all believe that he was a scholar Islamically.
Yep.
So like, is there anything you could provide us as far as like his Islamic education wise, as far as like what he learned or where he learned from?
So his Islamic education, I would say that it could be, as an example, inherited from his grandfather, his grandmother, learned from books, and he was born in the 30s and 40s. Most likely he learned most of it on his own. He was highly qualified. When he completed his master's or something, he topped in Pakistan. His name is on the list as well, that he was an A+ student. And then he went in the army, then he served in the Navy. So he lived quite a good life up to the age of 45 or 50. And after that, he came to America. And I think when he met the people, and then he decided, you know what, I want to start a community, or I want to teach these people Islam. That's kind of how it started. There's a lot other things which are missing in the puzzle, but that is pretty good.
Yeah, we'd be here forever trying to cover every detail, because it's just such a long story. So you said he had his master's. Do you know what that master's was like? What subject that was in?
It was him and his brother. Both of them topped in Punjab in their masters or something. I'm not sure what it was. MBA, we call it.
Okay, yeah.
So he came, I think, first, and his brother came second in that. Because my grandfather was highly educated, and he prioritized education because he was born under the British rule. So his whole goal was study. He was not Islamically qualified. I mean, he was not into Islam. He didn't even make his namaz that much. He was just a normal guy into politics.
Okay.
And then Abu later on studied about his ancestors, and he decided to go more towards Islam and try to do better for humans, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean that's normal for most of a lot of people. They start to become more religiously inclined as they get older. I mean and the reason why we are kind of pointing this out, and we definitely appreciate you being here, because most of the people that we know, probably 90% of the people that we know that speak about your father, they have never spoken to him, they have never met him, they've never been to Pakistan. So much of he's has become like a larger than life figure for them, and they kind of inject or impose their dreams and things into him. And
Yeah.
we just want to he was a normal person. It just seems like the same story as a lot of us. As we get older, we start to try to practice Islam as much as we know, and we try to grow in that way. Alhamdulillah, it provides a lot of insight. We appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, so is there anything else anybody wanted to touch on, like as far as like the Pakistan era kind of growing up? Because I wanted to like move into more of the stuff that happens over here. So if anybody say anything else that you want to touch on before we move on.
Yeah, just like in Pakistan, just if I can just get a little bit more clarity as far as, I know you said you were around 7 or so whenever Noor Zainab Adams married your father. But as far as before, like someone getting into what things that happened in the States, or maybe later on, like how was your relationship with her, and like as far as growing up, maybe from until you were a teenager, or maybe in your 20s, or how did that go?
No, my relationship with her was really good. I was like a son to her. Myself and her used to go hiking all the time. Like, we were very close.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up knowing her as our mother. We never called her a stepmother. We trusted her in everything. We were like, she's our mother. We never had those differences in our house. She always took care of me, whatever I needed. I always helped her if I could. That's how kind of we grew up with her, yes.
So, like, as far as her, as far as Noor specifically, as far as her, like, religious, education and background in that, because now, as we know, like, she's kind of like a religious leader. So, did you see her, as far as any sort of religious education, like, did she, memorize the Quran, or was she, studying some of the Islamic sciences that you know of over there before she became
So
like
what?
a spiritual leader?
Yeah. So what really is happening is, because of, the growing technology, now everybody wants evidence. You cannot go online and claim to be an Islamic scholar without any evidence or proof. So this is how the world goes. Back 50 years ago, 40 years ago, you were able to say that and get away with it. You can learn at home and you can say, I'm an Islamic scholar, because there was no cell phones, there was no social media. So what I think that she might have learned, whatever she learned might be self-taught. She doesn't have an Islamic education, but it's all is self-taught, and whatever she knows in her head, I guess that's all.
Do you think your father taught her what he know? I mean, is she practicing and implementing the way that your father taught her, or is it something else?
Some of it she could be trying to keep that going, but other than that, once a leader passes away and the next leader comes in charge, they do their own stuff. So that's human nature. Now she's on her own, and she's going to do whatever she feels she wants to do.
It fits, because, like, as you said, like your father was mostly self-taught, learned on his own, studied books, and then her coming is going to follow the kind of like the same thing. Okay, I'm going to learn the same way, got the same book in the same house. Yep. So, okay. Now, as far, and while we're talking about, while we're on it, is there anything that specifically that's like that you noticed that is vastly different from the way Noor and her new leadership, like, I guess, style or practices, versus like what you know of that kind of like clearly goes against what you know of what your father would have wanted, or how he would have been leading right now in the same situation?
So, because the reality is, my father was an old man. I'm sure he did a lot of mistakes. There's people who say that he did mistakes. Every human being does mistakes, which the TMOA admins and the people need to understand. The only perfect being was the Prophet ﷺ. Everybody else can make mistakes, and what the question was?
Just like the difference between, like, you like, for instance, like, because you mentioned how, like, okay, once you get the new leader, they kind of do their own thing.
Yeah.
And there may be some things that she's trying to keep going.
Yes, the difference they're doing is because when I was in America, a lot of community members used to come to me and tell me that, you know what, we have been wronged.
Mm-hmm.
So I will personally call Abu and I'm going to say, you know what, these people have gotten thrown out the community. And he was like, who? I don't even know that. He didn't even know the people are thrown out of the community. I'll tell him these were the reasons, and they're saying that they want to be a part of the community once again. And my father will tell me, he can let K2 know, let them back in the community. I'll tell the people, I'll tell K2, and then 10, 15 minutes or a few days later, the admins didn't like that. Somehow they used to twist the story, do something, and then I guess it just never happened. I've tried helping multiple community members. They know it. It could be some of them watching this event, which later or right now, but I was always there to help them. I used to directly contact my father and let him know, you know, this person has been wronged. Sometimes he would say, I don't even know who that person is, literally. And I'd be like, no, but K2 and them told me that you wronged, you told him to kick him out the community. And Abu, no, let them back in. We shouldn't let anybody out. So it was a whole mess.
Yeah.
I see. So
Now, when like say like when you did try to help, and then your father like, well, yeah, let him in. Tell K2 to let him in. But then it sounds like the administration or Shura Council would go back to your father and then tell him whatever story. Like, was the Shura Council? Because a lot of things that people think is that the Shura Council did all this stuff without actually getting any approval from your father. And like,
I would say some of the stuff.
Okay.
Because I was living with them as well. Many things they will do without approval of their father because their lifestyles were luxury. My father was a very simple man. Maybe he had some luxuries buying cars, but he lived a very simple life. He lived in one bedroom and one office. Other than that, his family had the luxury lifestyle. All his administration were young men who wanted expensive cars, who wanted houses, who wanted wives, who wanted latest cell phones, latest laptops. So it was a whole lot of this was a whole team working together and trying to scam people.
If we could just a couple things. One of the things that you mentioned, and that's why I say some of the kind of folklore and some of kind of an imagination that people have about your father that never met him. One of the things that they have said many times is that Sheikh Gillani knows each and every one of his talibs personally, and he knows you almost like how Allah knows you. And this is kind of how they were speaking. So you mentioned something that caught my attention is that sometimes they would ask your father about someone who's in the community and he wouldn't know who they were. I mean, this is a normal human being. So can you just clarify that your father did not know every person that was in the community?
It is a possibility. Yes, I agree with that. And as I said, as a human being, people make mistakes. So I do agree my father might have made a lot of mistakes, but
not necessarily a mistake. I mean, a human being is not going to know people that he's not been introduced to, has never met. So this is just because, like I said, they almost put your father in his abilities into some sort of superhuman ability to know everyone, even people that he's never met or never interacted to or never been mentioned to or whatever. So that's just what I wanted to kind of get across. But you did mention about a lifestyle, how your father was a very simple man. And he really just kind of had one room and and an office or whatever. Now there have been people that have told us when they would go and visit your father, maybe in the 80s or earlier, when in him first interacting with the community, that he lived in a very, very modest dwelling. And then over time, kind of some of the houses and properties were accumulated. But now, as far as the main house that he was living in was much, much nicer, bigger than how he originally started. So do you remember like maybe in the early days, the area or the dwellings or the living situation and how it changed, over time?
I can say we did buy a few houses because we had to move to different cities. Sometimes he'll buy a nice house which looks nice, but we always lived in big houses. But I'm not sure what to say about that. But
okay. So like there was there any like drastic change that you remember as like, okay, we lived in a house and all of a sudden we moved to like a super duper mansion one day, or was your living situation more just kind of constant based off like the size of your family?
No, sometimes we'll move to a big house, and then sometimes we'll come back to a smaller house because we were always moving. In our childhood, we moved every year. We were in a different city.
Okay.
Do you know the reason why y'all moved a lot, or are you not sure?
Reason, yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
Now, as far as like you came to America, you tried to help the people, you tried to stop some of the wrongs that you were seeing that the admin was doing. That, so they kicked you out of the Shura Council, sent you to Canada. Now, as far as the Tmoa administration, because you mentioned that your father was old. We've seen some other content you put out there, like he might not have been as involved in the leadership as people thought he was during the last 15 years or so many years. Could you tell us more about that? Like when did your Abu kind of like step away from handling the day-to-day type stuff of the Jamaat, and at what point did that happen, and who was actually really running the Jamaat and for how long?
I would say since 2008 almost. After 2008, the Jamaat has been run by Ibrahim, Hussein Adams, and Zainab Adams. These three are the main players. After 2008, they are the ones who've been using Abu's name and everything almost and running the Jamaat.
So we're saying probably at least for the last almost 15 years. And definitely, if you say 2008, I believe your father passed away in 2020. And was that when he? I mean,
21.
21.
21. Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about from 2008 to 2021 is was that 13 years?
13, yeah.
So, and let me just make sure that so in 2008, are you saying that based on your experience and you knowing your father and his situation, his health or whatever, you know that he could not have been able to run the community, in his current situation since 2008, right?
Yeah, after 2008, because he was 70 plus, he was able to run the community, but his wives were more involved in it. He trusted them. He trusted his administration as well, that they're gonna do whatever they're doing. And I guess kind of that he trusted his administration. They were the main players of all that. They were running the whole community.
Okay,
You'll just ask a question. Yes.
Okay, yeah, just saying because we definitely and I'm sure you know this, but we definitely have had the assumption, because Allah knows best, but we've had this assumption for years that at a certain point in time we felt like we could tell that we would call it a ghostwriter or someone who was speaking for your father, but we did not believe that your father was the one making the decisions or really pulling the strings. And just due to some of the dynamics, because of course we grew up in the community for years, 30 plus years, so we kind of knew how it's going on. So we just want to we don't want to leave it unclear as far as when you could definitively say, at least with some certainty, that at this point in time my father would not have been able to be able to lead the community, whether it be due to health or due to his health, and also with the dynamic of other people being stronger as far as maybe in speaking or just being able to do things to where he could not control the community. Because I know there was a statement, I can't remember which one of his children had said that he felt like this was from your father, he felt like he wasn't in control anymore because, as far as he's older and he's not as healthy. So really he would be depending on the people who he's communicating with to carry out his orders. And if they're just not going to do it physically, there's not much that he could do as an old man.
Yeah. Kind of, you correct what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So do you think 2008 is safe to say, or do you want to
no, around about that time is safe to say, because after 2008, any property or anything which was purchased in Pakistan was purchased under Umnor's name. So
since 2008?
Coming after 2008, all the property which was bought after 2008. Before 2008, Abu maybe had one house only. But
Okay.
after 2008, multiple dwellings, multiple houses, everything was bought.
So if and remembering like earlier in the show, you were saying that like as far as your grandfather and some
Yeah.
of your ancestors, they were wealthy and they had property. They gave a lot away and different things. But
Yeah.
what would be the reason for the change to put all the properties, these new properties that are being acquired or purchased, in Noor's name? Like, what is the reason for that?
That is the reason we're trying to figure out till this day.
Okay. So this wasn't a decision, as far as you know, that your father, did he tell Noor, hey, take these properties, purchase them, and put them in your name, as opposed to either his name or one of his sons, which is normally the case.
Yeah, it is a possibility that he purchased the properties and put it on her name. Yeah.
Okay.
Because especially what happens is now how the Jamaat runs. When there was any money coming from abroad, they're going to tell Abu, my father, that this is a gift for you. They're going to raise maybe $50,000 and send him $5,000 from the community. Shah Saab, this is a gift for you. The community loves you, this and that. And the $45,000 has to be used amongst Ibrahim's lifestyle, K2's lifestyle, and his sister Noor. They were taking all the money. They had lavish lifestyles in Pakistan, these people. So they used to collect a lot of money, tell Abu, this is a gift for you, and then others had to be used for their own expenses.
In your opinion, why do you think? Because it seems like if he was going to leave, like someone in charge or someone to kind of like take over things, it would be like one of his sons. That's what we would like assume naturally. But then if it's going to be one of his wives, like why wouldn't it be like your mother, since she's older, she's been there longer? Like, is there anything particular that say, okay, this is why Noor was the one that kind of stepped in and took over stuff?
No, but we never knew Noor was one of them. All these documents she had them hidden. So when he passed away, she showed everybody, look, your father said that as an example, I'm using the property belongs to me, the Jamaat belongs to me and my son. So all these documents came out after he passed away.
Okay, so to be clear, so some of these properties, so you knew about the properties that were being purchased, but did you ever think that these properties that were being purchased were the property of Noor? Or did you think they were
No,
the family's property or your father's property?
I didn't know all the way whose the property whose name was on, but we treated it as a family's property. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like basically this is the case of someone being taken advantage of. Typically, when people get up in older age or whatever, what is going on?
Yeah, it's your echo.
I'm saying your
Yeah,
audio
I can't hear him
is-
at all.
yeah.
So type it in the chat and then we could ask it.
So if just to be clear for everyone, so when you say money coming from abroad, what you mean is money coming from the United States, right?
Yeah.
So
from the Jamaat.
Okay, so did your like as far as the community, or did your father have money coming in from any other communities similar to TMOA? Like, is there, was there money and admin and people who were giving him money and things from other communities who were his followers, like they were in TMOA?
No, TMOA is the only community in North America. Other than that, he had people from our ancestors, like from our great grandfather, who live in Sindh. There's some people who live in KPK, which is Gilgit. There were some people who used to send gifts like mangoes and fruits and dates and all of that.
And we're talking about like kind of like we're talking about, so the system in TMOA, as you know, they collect dues, percentages, taxes, whatever you want to call it, from each community member, and then they send that to your father. This is what they. So what I'm asking, just to be clear, are there any other communities like that anywhere else in the world that were attached to your father in that way?
No, not at all.
Okay,
that's the only community. Yeah.
Now, and like you gave like a base, like a ballpark, like say for instance, if there's $50,000 collected, they'll give a small portion to your father, like here's a gift, and then the most of it will go to admin. Is Noor like part of that admin that would like take her cut as well?
Yeah, I'm sure about that. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay,
100%. Yeah,
all right,
all
because
of
a
them
lot,
were. It was all the admins. It was because
yeah,
none of them had jobs.
yeah, because a
None of
lot
them
of people would
worked.
say they'll hear that, people that want to be apologists, and they'll hear that and say, see, oh yeah, Noor only took 5,000 and the rest was all admin. Because a lot of people get stuck on they could touch, they can feel the admin that's here in America. So like anything bad that happens, they just associate it with them and then don't include anybody else in it. So like they'll
Yeah,
say, "Oh, my Marshida, she's perfect. She's not going to do anything wrong," and
yeah.
then so like they'll take that out of context. So I just wanted to like
Yeah, I
clear that.
never understand that as well about the community.
Yeah,
Whenever I was with the brothers and the uncles, I always told them like, this is wrong. Like whatever is happening is something's messed up in all of this system. And
yeah.
since day one, I was in that way.
So one of the things I wanted to touch on is like because you have mentioned publicly that like your position as far as like how TMOA is it's a cult. What are some things like even before you got to that like that understanding of that position of TMOA? What are some things that you first noticed like, hey, this is you mentioned a couple, but what are some other things that this is wrong? This is not Islamic. I don't agree with this. What are some things that started like getting you down that path? Like, hey, something's wrong here.
So when I was in Canada, I was one of the council members. So my whole goal was I used to let the community know. I used to have community meetings and tell them that we need to develop our lands. We need to mow the lawns, we need to plant flowers, we need to build our schoolhouse, we need to build a mosque. Every single week, I used to have a meeting and I used to push them. I said, as soon as you drive off our property, it looks like you're in a different world. And I
Mm,
said, as soon as we come back in, it looks like we're in a hood or we're in a different country. And all the money which used to be collected from the community, I was like, this money is not going anywhere. I said, all of this money will be used within the community. We're going to fix the community. We're going to fix the roads. And that is what started to happen. We started to fix the community. We built the schoolhouse. We built fences. We started, I'm talking about development was happening everywhere.
mm-hmm,
And then the Shura Council steps in. And I did threaten the Shura Council at that time. I was like, you are not allowed on Hassanville. And
mm-hmm,
at the end, because I never understood the bigger picture. I trusted the people because of how they used to come and act like, Ahle Bayt, we love you. And I gave them my weak points. And then they had a plan within a plan, especially the
mm,
Adams family.
mm,
And that was one thing I realized when they were like, the money has to go somewhere else. It has to go to Islamburg. I was like,
mm,
no, we're not going to let the money go. And then whenever something happened to any family member, especially someone asked a question or someone is trying to resolve a matter, they'll just, as an example, throw them out of the community,
yeah,
or they'll lash them, or they'll punish them. Things were very aggressive,
Mhm.
yeah,
and
So,
they were not using nothing which was based on Islam. And they used to always say that we are the best of Muslims, we are the best of the followers of Prophet ﷺ, and
so,
they were just words. They used to do the for themselves. They justified by doing ibadah. Their zikr is the loudest. Their namaz, maybe namaz is 5 times everybody should make. Their
mm,
zikrs, the events they have, they're doing crying and they're doing all types of different ibadahs. So they
mm-hmm,
justify by doing ibadah that we are better than others and we can do whatever we want. We do
mhm.
our ibadah, we do it different. No one else knows how to do it. And it's just something which is, I still can't understand why is it happening.
Yeah. So you kind of touched on a lot of the question that I was going to ask, but as far as is there anything that because when you came over to the States, you came to America and you kind of started to see and your story sounds really similar to a lot of our stories of how you tried to help and try to do things, and then everybody loves you, and then kind of as soon as you try to start doing things the right way,
Yep,
some of these admins or these sure council people and the administration, they then
yep.
turn on you and then kind of push you out so that they can keep things going. But was there any specific time or event where you realized, okay, these people are you didn't believe that they were going to do the right thing, and that uh, you could not work with them to kind of turn things around and to make things right? Was there any event or something specific that happened, maybe before your father passed away, or maybe it was could have been after? We know a lot of things happened after your father passed away, but was there anything before your father passed away where you were like, okay, something is not right? This is not going to work the way things are going.
Usually, whenever anything happened, it was always the money. I didn't care about most what how they're doing their ibadah and making their namaz, because I was not an Islamic scholar. My goal was developing the community, making sure that there's schools built for my kids, they're getting educated, and what was I gonna say? And whenever the money part came in, when they were buying luxury pens for my father, cost $8,000 on the Muslims of America, they posted a message that we're gonna buy our sheikh a pen for $8,000. I replied right away to Ahmed Pearson on the public chat. I said, "How are you buying a pen for $8,000 when there's no schools, people don't have money to eat, and you want to buy my father a pen for $8,000?"
Yeah.
So this was one time when this happened, and me and that's why myself and the admins, you will never see us together since I moved to North America. Me and the admins were always apart because they were like, this guy is gonna mess us up.
Did you report this stuff to your father? And like, what was his response?
I kind of did, but it's really difficult when there's everybody is doing the same and there's one guy trying to report something, and these admins are so trustworthy to my father that he would usually listen to the admins and be like, you're a kid right now. They were running the community for 25 years. I used to tell Abu, he used to curse them out. He has cursed K2 out multiple times. When I told my father, he told K2 that I will kick you off of Islamburg and you will never be able to enter this property, multiple times. But they were able to change his mind because my father's wife was K2's sister. So, and I was in Canada at that time. So every time the story just twisted, and then my father will call me, you are, what do we call that? You're not humble. They're giving you so much. The community's taking care of you. They do this for you, and you're still complaining about them. So I had to get quiet in that.
Was there any case of fathers typically do this? We've all experienced it, and we probably do it to our kids, but we're like, you're always like a kid to your parents, and these are his admin, and they, like you said, they've been doing this for many years, and like you kind of mentioned it, like you're just a young guy, and even though you're a grown man and trying to do things, so like, yeah, I get it.
So when you're and I'm not trying to rush, but I know we've been going for a while, but so when your father passed away, then it comes out that you find out that a lot of the property and a lot of the things were in Noor's name and not necessarily in the family's name. Did the community, as far as the community, because we realized that it did become kind of a split. It became kind of your brother, your mother, and your sister on one side, Noor all on the other side. And did you notice, like, from community members, just regular community members, where they had a lot of love, respect, and reverence and honor for you, that all of a sudden turned on you? Or did that turning was just kind of from the admin? So like, just people.
The love and respect was not real, because the love and respect should be for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one and only. That's the main thing. These are human beings. Human beings say whatever they want. They used to say, and especially after Abu passing away, because Noor and her admins portray the story totally different to the people. So every single person I knew, the guys who were with me after my father passed away, I had to go to America for my passport. They understood everything. I told them everything clearly. I said, what is happening is wrong. You understand? This is totally wrong what the admins are doing. They agreed with me, but the people are stuck so bad in the community. They don't have financial support. They don't have education. If they do anything against the admins, they don't have nowhere to go. Right. The admins have been planning these children from childhood. They've been planting these babies. So as they grow up, they don't want to give them education. They don't want to start them any business. And they just want them to stay small so they can't get out of that property. So they have these slaves they can boss around and take their pennies. Because if they love those people, if the admins love the people, the youngsters, by now they should have started them some businesses. They should have tried to help them out. But these youngsters are still taking care of the admins. from their financial aid they get from the school. Still, they gotta buy the admin cell phones,
Mm,
laptops,
mm,
and that is the reason why many of the people I knew, the friends I knew, is like Said Matthews, Mansoor Mobley.
Mhm.
What is the? I forgot many of their names because I had let it go. I don't even care about them anymore. These
Right.
people know the truth because I stayed with them, and every time I used to tell them, I was like, you know what, this is wrong, and I
Mhm.
never. They took me to Betullah, we call it on Islamburg, the first time,
mm,
Mhm.
and everybody was kissing and doing all of that, kissing the Betullah, whatever. And I walked in, I was like, what is this going on? I was like, I don't see
Mhm.
nothing. I was like, I totally didn't understand what they were doing.
Yeah.
yeah,
They,
yeah,
they
that's
realized that this guy is gonna, because I live in the real world. These
yeah,
people
Mhm.
do not live in the real world. It's just a
yeah,
few of them. And
Yeah.
yeah,
my goal is that some of my friends see this, they're not friends anymore, and they realize, and my story does come out. Why did I go against the admins? Why did I go against Umnor?
mm,
Why am I trying to clear up Abu's name and ask forgiveness from the people if he has done anything wrong? There's a reason why I came online,
yeah,
so these youngsters can come out of this bubble. It doesn't
yeah,
matter if they have to leave the community and start all over again. If I can do it, the guy who was born with gifts coming to him every month, people sending money, if I can
Mhm.
start all over again, which still I'm trying my best, they can do it too.
Alhamdulillah.
absolutely. And that's
I was,
that's really beautiful to hear,
yeah,
honestly. And the thing is, if I may just take a pause real quick just to
yeah,
say that we're really on the same side. We're on the same
yeah.
side, and I know that we can be come off as really harsh, really aggressive, and lots of different adjectives. But what you said about what you want for the people and what you're trying to help, well, the law is a witness. This is exactly what we're trying to
I
do.
agree with that. That is
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And you all have been trying for a lot of years. And
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
hope that we can come to a conclusion and also try to, about my father, I'm going to try my best to answer all his questions and
Yeah.
we can move on helping these community members. Because now
Mhm.
the kids of Said Matthews, he has 7, 8 kids. They're going to grow up in this cult environment. He's going to destroy their, I mean, worldly education, and he's going to destroy their akhirah by
Mhm.
keeping them in
Yeah.
this cult and keeping them within these four walls. And they should think about their kids. If they don't want to change it, at least think about your kids. You're destroying your kids as well.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
this is
Absolutely.
a sin which is not forgiven,
Yeah.
which you
Yes.
all
Yeah.
have said it
Absolutely.
multiple times. Allah Ta'ala
Absolutely.
said, I will forgive every single thing. You don't have to
Absolutely.
be an Islamic scholar,
Mhm.
but the only thing He won't forgive is shirk.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
this is what is
Absolutely.
happening now. Building $1 million shrine,
Mm.
having spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, importing people from abroad, having big death celebrations, rather than helping the
Mhm.
dead father of mine, spending that money, sending these people for Hajj or Umrah, or
Mhm.
feeding the poor, building wells, helping the poor people around the world, so his akhirah can get benefited.
Mm.
And the
Mm.
shirk they're doing is not benefiting him; it's destroying his akhirah as well, his end as well. They
Mhm.
should try to
Mm.
change it. You know what? We know that the Quran and Sunnah is the real thing. The Prophet ﷺ words are the last words. There's nothing after that. That is the last words. It's in the Quran. Everybody believes that. They believe it too, but they just don't want to do it because it messes up their whole lifestyle. The people are scared of their social circle. And in Canada, all the elders of the community do not agree with the community, I mean, TMOA.
Mhm.
They're
Mm.
Yeah.
all against TMOA. Because I sat with them, we had discussions, we explained everything. Umnor sat with us, and they realized that this lady, the only thing she wants at the end of the day is just fame and fill up her bank accounts. That's it.
Mhm. Yeah,
Ah,
that's. I
I
mean,
want to talk. Oh, go ahead.
that's beautiful. Honestly, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And may Allah bless you.
I
Um,
mean,
and just if we can just look at one thing, because the whole thing with Umnor kind of like exploded onto the scene a few years ago, but if we look at your brother, and we apologize for not mentioning it earlier, as far as we did hear that your brother was sick, or was he in the
Yeah.
hospital, or is he, how's his health now?
He's very ill, yes.
He's very ill.
Because of
Uh,
the shock, what happened.
yeah, yeah. No, it's understandable, and so
Yeah,
yeah, we definitely asked Allah to give him shifa, to
inshallah.
bless him, and to help him with his health, and forgive any of his sins, and accept his good deeds. And that we hope that he gets better. And if there's
yeah.
anything that we can do, reach out and let us know.
Inshallah.
even regardless of some of the differences, still we're always, if we can help a Muslim brother in any way, we do. So that's sincerely from us. Don't feel free to reach out if we can. We will. Allah is always the one whose help is sought. But
I just want
speaking
to.
of,
Oh, go ahead. Well, real quick, I want to just kind of bring people to where we're at, because we try to address what people might say or use to kind of refute. And one of the things that people have been saying and will say is that, oh, he's only upset because of the inheritance money, right? But I think it's been the picture has been clearly painted that you've had issues ever since you've known what was going on.
That is one way to say it. Yes.
Yeah, and you've been trying in your own way, based on your knowledge and your capacity, to try to fix things, even before the whole inheritance thing became an issue.
And the last strike was last year in Canada, when me and Umnor sat down to negotiate the inheritance. It was myself, it was Umnor, it was K2, it was Noor Hussein, it was Abu Hafiz Isa from Canada, it was Abdul Rashid, it was my father-in-law and my mother-in-law. And when Umnor was over there, I told her, because I did want my inheritance, regardless of what people say, how my father got it. For me, it was my inheritance. Mm-hmm. I told Umnor, if you put your hand on the Holy Quran and you swear and say that all the property which my father has on your name was given to you from my father, is it something like that? Was given to you from my father, I will let every single thing go. I will let every single thing away. The law school in Pakistan, wherever I'm living, I'm just going to walk away from every single thing. Number second, I said, you can open up the Holy Quran and you can follow Surah Al-Nisa. I said, if you follow that, all the matter will be over and no more discussions between me and you after that. Yeah. And the third thing I said, what was that? And the third thing, I also said another third thing to, and all three things she didn't agree on. And after that, I told her that all the property which you have on your name, rather it's my father's shrine and everything, I have let it go. And I'm saying it publicly as well. Since last year, I had let every single property which she owns, which she loves a lot, I had let it go. Even though she publicly said that I'm letting go of all the property to the whole Jamaat. She told all the people that, I didn't come here for money. I'm giving away all the property to the Gillani family. She didn't. But I personally said that I don't want nothing from you. And then she came to me again. She said that, you know what? You should come back in the Jamaat. You should be with me. And, we can change a lot of things. This happened in Canada. And she was in my house. And I said, you know what? I said, the main problem here is that what you believe in, I don't believe in. Because the people who are willing to give their lives for Ahlul Bayt right before my father passed away are now willing to take my life. I said, so I don't think that me and you will be able to walk together. So this was last year. I clearly told her I can't be with you all.
Yeah.
So how much property, because there's been a lot of speculation about how much or how little or whatever. So how much property, as far as maybe houses or cash, we've heard that it's in multi-millions as far as cash or property or assets or different things. So if you don't mind us asking, like how much are we talking about that she is? Because I mean, for you to give away, even if it was a small amount, for you to give away and just say, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this, and you can take it. For you to give away what Allah actually, it's your right given to you by Allah. But for you to give it away, is big of you. But really, I'm sure people would want to know, and it's important as far as how much really, because it's not just you, it's actually your siblings as well. But how much property is it that's at stake here?
So the property she personally owns, which I always get confused because they keep on raising money from the poor people, is worth more than, I would say, $10 million. She personally has.
Wow.
So that's all on her name. And if she has cash, she has millions of dollars just hidden somewhere under the ground or somewhere. And this lady will not try to help someone. And I'm also, because my elder brothers are suffering in Pakistan. They don't have jobs. They're 50, 60 years old. They're still waiting. They were hoping, because as Muslims, we are supposed to get our inheritance when our elders pass away and enjoy it. Yeah. These guys were like, you know what, still our father has property. He's going to pass away. We'll be able to do something with our lives. She didn't give them anything as well.
Wow.
But yes, she does have money because I got some emails from some people from 2010. I didn't even know about that. My father was sick. They raised $50,000 in 2010 to pay for my father's hospital bills. I have the email, which was sent to the whole Jamaat. So money from 2010 to 2024, because there was no property purchased after 2012. All that money is still somewhere. I don't know where. So they have the money, but they don't want to spend it. I don't know why. I hope Allah Ta'ala guides them. They still give people their due rights. They'll be in more peace. They'll be happy, and they can live their life, literally.
So if we can just adjust just a little bit. Now we know that your brother Sultan had made a video or two regarding this issue, and there was some speculation about um, Sultan actually being the one who your father chose as to be the leader and to be in charge and kind of manage things after your father either got sick or after he were to pass away, which is, that's the normal, how everyone in the world does it. Usually the oldest son or, whoever's most responsible of the sons usually steps into their father's role if they're able. So from our vantage point, it looked like Sultan believed that he was supposed to be the one and that your father had told him and chosen him as being the next one. And I mean, his name is Sultan. I mean, that, has some connotations we can get into later. But the point is that was that you guys, your understanding to confirm, was that what Sultan believed, and how did it become where Noor is the leader when it looked like Sultan was chosen to be there?
So a little bit of history I have to give you. Because of the culture of Pakistan and India, it's a little bit different. Wherever there's a peer, a sheikh, he has multiple followers, and kind of he tells the people, this one of my son is gonna lead you if something happens to me. And same thing happened to Sultan when Abu was happy one day. He was like, what, this boy is gonna be someone special. He's gonna one. He's gonna take care of you all. So he used to say these things to not just him. He has said it to me. He said it to my younger brothers. Then he said it to Noor Hussein. But when he said it about Noor Hussein, Noor took it literally. I need to write it down because she had a mission. So that's nobody. It's just something I'm still confused about that, man. Something I don't know.
Okay. So your father has, said that to multiple people, and I, sometimes I say that to my sons. Whoever I'm happy with, I say, hey, you're my favorite or whatever. But it's not always literal. But so I understand from that point of view. So it is possible that that he said that to Sultan, but also some of his other sons. But do you ever remember him being happy with Noor and saying, "You're going to be in charge, Noor," because or anything like that? Like,
no, I know one thing is that before he passed away, the last month or 3, he had changed a lot. My father, he was a different person. He really started liking me a lot, and neither did he get along with Noor, neither did he get along with Noor Hussein. Because when Noor and Noor Hussein saw that Shaji is calling Mudassar all the time, because I was in a rented house. I was renting a house somewhere else. And then Abu used to tell me every single day, I used to come and serve him in the morning at Fajr. He used to tell me, you know what, I want you to move in this house. It's a really long story. Then I did move in the house, and even the people who were around Noor, the admins, they know that at the end of Abu's life, he was cussing her out. Not even in normal words. He was just like, I don't want to go more in detail because now the members of the community are going to say he came online to backbite Noor because he's mad at her. So, but they know the reality. Ibrahim, Dr. Balkis, they know that what was happening. The last moment of my father's life, who was closest to his father was me. It was not even Noor, it was not Noor Hussein. So this is all a twisted story.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of it's a lot of dynamics, a lot of nuances and different things. So we received a lot of. Go ahead.
I was saying that my father was not conveying God's word. People just took it seriously. Anything he said, they took it to the Jamaat. This is it. Even if it contradicts the Quran and Sunnah, this is it. We don't care. So this is how things just started messing up. It helped the admins in America to keep their power. Even if he said something by mistake or he said it which is not according to Islam or the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, but they took it like, this is it. These are God's words. We're just going to follow this. We don't care about anything else.
Okay. So if we look at, and I'm trying to just kind of like stick with the timeline and make sure that we kind of give you the opportunity to get everything out. But so in some of the events surrounding your father's death, I know that you guys made a kind of put out a video about that and kind of covered everything in some pretty good detail. But from the video that we saw and covered that you put out, I mean, it looks like that at the end of your father's life, everything wasn't, you know, let's say, how can I say this in a nice way? I think that there was maybe some shady activities going on. There definitely was some mistakes made. Let's put it that way,
Yep.
as far as your father and him being sick and really not being in control of how he was given medication or what he was given, whatever, to where he did eventually wind up being passed away in that whole situation. And I mean, I'll be honest. To me, it feels like that. Uh, it may have been deliberate, or at least he didn't
So
get the
what?
help that he
Yes.
needed. That would have been more beneficial for him.
So what happened is that when I used to come to this house because I was living somewhere else, there used to be some physiotherapist who used to come and help Abu out. Everybody was in and out his room, and that was the time is the peak season of coronavirus. I used to walk into Abu's room, my father's room, and I used to tell Dr. Bulkis and everybody, I was like, you all don't understand. There's a pandemic outside. People are dying. There's a virus going on. They didn't care at all. And then what happens? He gets the coronavirus and he dies. Like, and I stopped them. They know it really well. All these people know. I came to them. I like, this is wrong what you're doing. The doctors or whoever is entering the room, they should wear a mask because old people can get sick and they can die because they're weak. Their lungs are weak. And then the day he gets the virus, they put, I mean, signs all over the house that no one can enter the place without masks. And I go and I tear down all the papers. I was like, now you want to put in these. I mean, I didn't know he had the virus after maybe 3 months after he died. I found his report inside the house, but we didn't know that he had corona.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, so I'm fine now.
Sounds much better. Yeah.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Because I had a few questions I wanted to ask. All right, so there's a lot of speculation about your father actually saying that the community was immune to the coronavirus. So can you touch on that? Is there any information that or light you could shed on that? Because we don't have information of him actually saying that, but that's what swirled all around. So
I did see a document, I think, but I'm not sure if he said it because I never heard him say it.
Okay.
But I did see a message go out around in the community. They were saying that read something or put something on top of your house.
Mm-hmm.
You won't get this virus, something like that.
Yeah, so we were under the understanding that he actually caught the virus or got the virus, but he was telling all of us that the community was immune. But again, like I said, it's just a lot of speculation. He said, she said, so.
Yeah, I think at this point, like, because we kind of covered, I don't know if it was when you was out, but we kind of covered how a lot of things that maybe were being said, Abuji said this, and another, it may have been coming from, most likely coming from admin. Some of the things definitely were coming from admin, either without his approval or taking it out of context and stuff like that. So it could easily have been where admin is saying, Abuji said something when it may not have been the case. So,
well, to be fair, we know that, and we have documentation of certain things that have been said directly from your father's mouth. But again, we're not no judge and executioners. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he could have erred. And maybe, inshallah, Allah would have given him the opportunity to walk some of them statements back. You know what I mean? And again, we all make mistakes. So,
let's try to cover, if you don't mind, your younger brother, Noor's son. Were you guys close growing up? I know he's maybe almost maybe 8 or 9 years younger than you, or
he
something
could
like
be
that.
around about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, how did y'all get along growing up? Did y'all grow up together, or were you kind of off?
Yep, he was my younger brother. I fought all his battles. Any problem he had outside, any problem he got into, if I was there, I will have deal with it. So we grew up without any issues. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I mean, is he? You know, would you say? Because I mean, we only kind of dealing with him from some of the social media, and then some of the things that he posts on social media. To be honest with you, it's not religiously inclined at all. Some of his posts, except for some of the recent like little gatherings or whatever he was kind of put in front to do. But so, would you say that? As far as, because let's be honest, he was chosen, I guess, by Umnor, that said your father chose him as being the next leader of the community or whatever. Do you? I mean, is that something that you can see as well? He is a person that you see as having those type of leadership qualities that would have or should have been passed over lots of other people that may have been more fit, or do you see him as a leader like that? And what are your ideas on the fact that he's the chosen one to come next?
I think to be a leader, number one, he has to get Islamically qualified. That's the first thing. He needs to go and get educated in Islam, go to Medina University or Al Azhar University and get his degrees, because now people do not care how, where you learn. They want to see something that you have some Islamic education. And his leadership qualities, I don't know about that, but it's something which Allah Ta'ala controls. Anybody can say that this young man will be a leader, but if Allah Ta'ala did not decide for him to be a leader, and if he's not able to win people's hearts, he will never be a leader. It's just,
so let me ask you personally. I mean, would you feel comfortable if Nora tells you, "Hey, I'm going to be the leader of a community, and I want you to join the community and follow my leadership"? Would you feel comfortable following his leadership from what you know right now?
I'm not going to follow anybody's leadership.
That's very, very diplomatic. I get right.
That's just how it is.
Well,
I
and
will follow.
we're not trying to like goad you, because like he is, at the end of the day, he is your brother. And I'm pretty sure like you love him no matter what disagreements. Like I have brothers too, and one day we hate each other. We still love each other no matter how much we hate each other. You know how that goes. But we're just trying to get the people like a sense, because like, for instance, I have 5 brothers, 6 sisters, and we all kind of know each other. You know, we all know each other no matter how close we are. We know each other. So there's certain people in my family that I could easily say like, yeah, that's not where his skill set is in. He's good at other things, but that's not the leader. Like I could point to a couple of people like, yeah, they definitely are leaders. If they want to go be the captain of the basketball team, I could follow them, listen to them. Is he one of those people in your family that the other siblings were like, yeah, he's got that in him. He's a leader amongst us?
Before Abu passed away, we never even could assume that he will be a leader, but he still has a chance to be a leader. He got to struggle. He got to go out in the world on his own without 10 people around him and just be who he is. Go and get some life experience, work at Home Depot or do something. It takes time to become a leader. It takes experience. It's not just, someone said I'm a leader, I'm a leader. It just doesn't happen like that.
That's great advice. I hope if he's listening, I hope he takes it.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to speak directly, Brother Mudassar. So we've been trying to be careful not to, rub you the wrong way or bring up topics that might be a little bit,
No, it's fine. Totally fine.
But you've made us feel really comfortable. I'm very impressed with the way you've handled yourself up to this point. So I'm just going to just come out and ask it. Do you believe that your brother is the 7th Sultan, and what are your thoughts about that? Because this is a big, big hot topic around the community, and I think we, all of us, we want to clear the air and just get it right on the table right now.
I did do my research about all the books they read and the Sultan belief. That because how the ulamas have said, the scholars of Islam, that when Allah Ta'ala sent down the Torah through Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, those books got changed. The Jews still believe in Hazrat Musa and the Torah. As Muslims, we believe that those are not God's books, because as time passed, they got changed. Then came down the Hazrat Isa came, and then Christianity started 300 years after he passed away. And we believe that Bible as well is not God's words, because they have been changed. The only book which hasn't been changed is Holy Quran, which as Muslims we believe. So the same thing happens with the ulamas of Islam, which is Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gillani and all the awliyaullahs. They all, their mission was the Holy Quran and Sunnah, and the books they wrote, and the teachings they did. As time passed down, the books got changed. There's leaders who came in history who wanted to change the book and add and take out whatever they wanted. And as the books came down, the people just started believing in those books. Our community's problem is they rather believe in the books which were written by random people, but not the book which was sent down by our Allah Ta'ala or the Sunnah of the Prophet. They'll rather believe in those. So the sixth and seventh Sultan belief, I think that it's up to whoever wants to believe. I don't believe in it, and I never believed in it. So since I was born, I never heard about the sixth Sultan, the seventh Sultan. So when I moved to America, I did, but I don't believe in that at all.
So you
'Cause
never
to be a
heard
Muslim,
about you,
to be a Muslim, we don't have to believe in the sixth or seventh Sultan. We have to believe in Allah Ta'ala and His Rasul. That is one of the basics.
okay.
If you want to add on to other things, it's your own choice, I guess.
So you never heard about the sixth sultan. All the times you were around your father, you never heard about six or seven or any of this sultan stuff. Growing up,
Kind of. I just heard Sultan. Sultan means a king or something.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Lots of people are named sultan. So to
Yeah.
be clear and to make sure that there's no ambiguity, because in TMOA they love to chase red herrings and they love to take things out of context. So to be clear, as far as your brother Noor Gillani, the son of Noor, Zainab Adams, who they claim is the seventh sultan. Do you believe that he is the seventh sultan?
Not at all. How
Not
would
at
I
all.
say
Okay.
that? There's not even a chance.
Perfect.
I believe he's the family of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I believe that he's a really good young man who has been totally misguided. He is the clown of the circus. These admins have experience running this cult. They're just gonna use him, try to make him into that charismatic figure, so they can do what they're doing, which is not gonna happen. This is the end of an era. Big Mughal emperors came down. The Usmans, whatever all these big empires came crashing down, and these are just a few hundred people who trying to hold on to this for no reason.
Yeah, it's you've mentioned the fact that you can see that Noor seems to be being used kind of like a
100%.
used as a pawn.
Reality.
And that's and honestly, we do kind of we kind of deal with him pretty hard because he's been put out front, and we have said in the past, and we'll just reiterate again, it's not anything against him. We know he's being used, but he has to take his shots. They've put him out in front as a shield, and so he's going to take a lot of the blows. And then we feel like he's not ready, he's not qualified, he's uncomfortable, he's way out of even his own element. Like he has no business in front of a camera or a microphone trying to portray himself as a leader. But so we're on the same page with that. But I do want to just touch on one thing that you mentioned, and I will say that so for some context, I have members of my family who are Pakistani. I have relatives who are Pakistani. I've been to Pakistan multiple times. And one thing and I have plenty of friends, like I have plenty of Black friends. I have plenty of Pakistani friends, plenty of them that I love and respect, lots of Muslims. And one thing that's a running joke that the Pakistanis, that they know this as to be something that's rampant in Pakistan, is that you almost cannot go anywhere in Pakistan and anyone you bump into, they're a Sayyid. Okay, they're part of the family of Rasulullah. They say, hey, they'll mention to you, you're not even talking about that. And they'll say, hey, yeah, and I'm also a Sayyid. And they have said that this is just part of the culture. People have changed their names to Qureshi, Gillani, and different other names.
You're right about that.
You're
100% right what you're saying, yes.
So there is a, and I will say it, that I definitely am one of the people who I'm very skeptical about anyone's from Pakistan or anywhere really saying that they're a Sayyid, because of the experience that I've had in being over there, and everybody is, part of the family of Rasulullah. So what would you say about people like me who are skeptical? And because you did mention, your brother as far as being part of the family of Rasulullah, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal for TMOA and for everyone that's involved. So do you know about that culture in Pakistan where that?
Yes, I do. I do know about that culture. You're right, what you're saying, yes. That is the Shia community.
Mm.
That is the firqa of Ahl Tashi. The people usually who become Shia, they name their last name Shah and they become Sayyids. But I'm not totally sure why they do it. But all my friends usually when like we're Shias now because they don't have knowledge about Deen. They're youngsters. They just go into somewhere for a khitab and the scholar is a Shia. They all become Shias and they put their name as Sayyids and Shahs. But our family over here, Gillani family where we live, it's at least 500 to 600 Gilanis who are all related to, for starts off, our great grandfather who is Pir Anayat Ali Shah Sahab, who had four wives and 36 kids. So that's how we came to this area. And then his father is our great great grandfather who has a shrine. They all have shrines. I'm not sure why. He has a shrine in Gujarat, his name over there. And then others, I still gotta keep up going on the stairs. And there's a whole history how we came to Pakistan. Even Hazrat, what is her name? Sakina? Hazrat Khati, no. Hazrat Rukaya is buried right close to our house, 10 minutes away. The family of the Prophet ﷺ. Hazrat Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani's sons are buried in Punjab, which is another 2 hours away from here. Is the area our father used to take us. Two of his sons are buried over there. But it doesn't mean being a Sayyid, you are special. A person is just supposed to respect the Sayyid because the Prophet ﷺ was Allah Ta'ala's, we can call Allah Ta'ala's love. He created the world for him. He loved him a lot. In the Azan we say his name, in the Kalma we say his name. But Sayyids can be astray. They can do bad things. They can be wrong. But at the end of the day, everybody is a normal human being. Everybody is equal. And we all are the Ummah of Prophet ﷺ. This is what I believe. I don't believe that I'm a, yes.
Yeah, this is something we try to hammer home a lot with viewers. Because a lot of people focus on, especially people that have been out and they don't, they're against the Tmoa and they realize it's wrong and they focus on, they say, oh, they're not Ahlul Bayt, they're not Ahlul Bayt. I don't believe they're Ahlul Bayt. We try to tell them like, well, they could or can be. It doesn't really, but it doesn't really matter. Like you
that's what I'm saying. That's
right.
our sin. If we are saying we are Sayyid and we're not, we have to pay for that at the end of the day. That's just how it is.
Yes.
But my mission is, one of my mission is that I'm going to be going back all the way to my ancestors. I did tell my family that day. That's I think because we had some sort of document for our family which goes all the way back up to Hazrat Ali or Prophet ﷺ, something like that. But I never did my research all the way there. But I know that I talked to my elders in our family because there's many scholars and they've told me that yes, if you want, we can show you how we go back all the way.
I think your one of your little sister, Noor's daughter, she made a video and I think she posted it and we've seen it and it was like,
the Shirja, yes.
Yep. So if that's true, that means they're Ahlul Bayt. So that's why we try to emphasize, like you said to people, we there's an honor you get for being Ahlul Bayt, and Allah has blessed you for being Ahlul Bayt. But again, like you said, it doesn't excuse you from doing wrong.
That's the main point. Yeah. There's Ahlul Bayts everywhere.
Yep.
All over the world.
And on this subject, and you touched on it a little bit, but it kind of shows based off of how you and it's particularly your side of your family has been treated after your father passed away. It shows that a lot of people in TMOA actually really don't care about Ahlul Bayt because
that's the reality. That's what I said.
Yeah, you have one. They were kissing, giving you gifts and all that. Then as soon as you went against what they wanted to do, you guys became enemies. They said that you guys, what they say, you committed treason. They kicked you out your own father's community. They stole your inheritance. They vandalized your home. And now even recently, like you had Ahmed Pearson, trying to get in a physical altercation with you. So like, talk to us a little about that in your experience. Just like the transition of like that, what you're thinking of how they loved you one moment and then almost hated you like the next moment, pretty much.
But I think that was also something good what happened to me. Because I grew up with thousands of friends. I was very famous in Lahore. Like I had a lot of friends and everything. And when I came to North America, I had all these people always saying that we will be there for you no matter what. And when the toughest time of my life came, I understood that there's only a few people I can rely on. And that is better than having 100 people who are lying and saying that we care about you and it's better I got rid of them because I'm still young. I still have time to make friends. I still have time to do things, and at least my kids are saved from this. This all I really did this is for my kids. If my kids were still on the property and I accepted them to follow the cult, be in the community, if I was gone, if I died, what were they going to do to my kids? They were going to do worse. So if they can do this to me, they can do anything to the kids. That is something which I realized, and I was like, you know what? I don't want my kids going through this. And even when I go to Canada, I don't even live on the property. My house is there. I do go there, but I'd rather live on a campground with non-Muslims than to live with that community. Because with the non-Muslims, no one cares about who I am. They don't bother you. You can be who you are. Being in the community, it's just something I just can't do anymore.
So, the next thing I want to, because I know we've been going for an hour and a half here, and I know,
Are you kidding me?
yeah. So I know that, because to be honest, I'm sure that we have our reasons initially, and I can honestly say that this has changed a lot of my perspective about a lot of things, and we won't get into all of it. I'm sure everybody has had some eye-opening things that were said here, and some differences that have changed. But I just want to make sure that, because we know that, okay, you decided to come on the show for reasons that are personal to you, and that you wouldn't really want to make sure that you cover those things. So I want to just pause right here and make sure that we cover the things and the reasons why you decided to come on the show. So I'm sure that you have, whether you call it an agenda or your main points or whatever, but we want to give you the opportunity to kind of address and cover the things that are most important to you as far as coming on the show, coming on the platform, and getting that out there so that we can get it covered and discuss it if need be.
I did write it down. And my reason one was because I did want to apologize to all the people who believe that my father did wrong, only for my father, and all the mistakes he made, which I believe he did make mistakes because he's a normal human being as everybody else. He tried his best. And at the end of the day, regardless of how the community is today, people still make their 5-time namaz. They still read Holy Quran. They don't have bars on the properties. They don't have clubs over there. But as you know, that shirk, there's nothing worse than shirk. And my mission was that hopefully we can have conversations and I can clear my father's name, whatever I can do, so we can take away all the negativity. That was point one. That is all up to your decision, what you decide. That we can still talk about his teachings. I was like, more we need to, because he has passed away. And now his deeds are with Allah Ta'ala. Our mission or your mission should be to take these new young generation, because I know the young generation, they're not going to stay within this cult. There's people telling them that this is wrong, and if they really want their or their kids' akhirah to be better, they want their kids to be normal Muslims in the world, they'll have to make some tough decisions. That was reason one. And the other message I had was, I said all of it, that I used this platform for my interview is because the community, I know all the people watch this show. And I'm also in contact with CBC News in Canada. Is my next interview. My next interview is with Moose FM in Barry's Bay. Those topics are about the vandalizing my house, and stealing my property. So those will be my next interviews, because these people did go into my house, they vandalized, and they went back in my house and they stole all the property and broke my whole house.
Yeah, make sure like when those do come up, send us the information so we could also
yes,
get it out
100%,
to people. Yep.
Let me segue in. Question: are you familiar with the ongoing lawsuit that's currently going on over here?
I am in contact with him.
In contact with who?
I told him you have my full support in anything you need.
You're talking about Brother Salman?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because a similar situation happened. Like you got vandalized. He didn't get, at least his house didn't get vandalized. But even recently, another brother, we heard something similar happen. So it's something that's going on. But just real quick, and I know you wanted to touch you wanted to kind of clear up some of the things with like your father and what he taught. And then again, your father's passed away and his situations with the law. And I think it's commendable that you as his son because we're all the thing that's going to carry on after our graves is the stuff that we taught people, and people are carrying on from our teachings. And it's very again, we're going to be talking about this forever with much respect to you for doing this. It takes a lot of courage to do this. It takes a lot of honor. And I know you said you're not someone who wants to be out there and make a spectacle of yourself and want attention. So it's very commendable for what you're doing. And these are tough topics, and we do have to touch some of the teachings of your father. And it's not to attack your father personally. Like you said, he taught the best he could of what he knew and the knowledge he had, which he passed on to the people. But a big part of what people carry on from his teachings does deal with actual shirk. And that's why we kind of we focus on the obvious one, which is the belief of the seven sultans. And I know you mentioned, like, if people want to believe it, it's like that's their problem, but it's really a little more deeper than that, because if people do believe it, whether they understand it or not, if they understand it, it's an even bigger problem. That belief actually is like 100% shirk.
Yeah, because I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's one thing that I think, as like yourself, and if you could hopefully get your siblings to also kind of rally behind you to actually push this message of, we want you to carry on the teachings of our father that was right, was the Quran.
That was right. That is my point as well.
Yep.
And do things which will benefit him rather than spending millions of dollars on a death anniversary. Like, it is something which I really wanted to tell the community as well. Do better for him. Do good deeds. Read Holy Quran or feed the poor, which are going to benefit and give him blessings. That's what they need to work towards.
So we probably have quite a few questions that are, so would you mind opening up the Q&A and allowing people to ask questions? Maybe some people may jump on, or maybe they will just type the questions in the chat, but are you comfortable with answering a few questions?
Yeah. Whatever I
all right.
want people to answer, I'll just let you on.
And you can feel free to just decline to answer any questions. But so whatever questions come across, we'll just mention them, and then if it's something that's too crazy, we're not gonna bother with it.
Okay.
But the first thing will come from me, and that is that your father was called the Sixth Sultan. By lots of people. He's mentioned it, even your brother Sultan, even his little motorcycle club is Sons of the Six.
Yeah.
So this Sixth Sultan concept, you've already mentioned that this concept of the seven sultans is shirk. Of course, we've covered that extensively, but what would you have to say as far as, number one, the thing that your father being the Sixth Sultan, and what would you say to people who are still believing it? Is your father the Sixth Sultan? First of all, let's make that clear.
So, after I did my research, I realized throughout history, when ulamas and Islamic scholars, or like the big emperors, Islamic emperors, they all had a certain rank. So this was used as a rank to keep that respect, so people know that they're coming to someone who has this respect. It's not, because if Sixth Sultan, Seventh Sultan, as I mentioned before, it's not even relevant in Islam. It is just something, I just don't know what to say about that. There's nothing which tells you in Islam that you have to follow the sixth or seventh sultan to be a Muslim. I believe that my father was a very good man. This whole area knew him. He was respected in our family. He was respected in Lahore. Everybody knew him as an elder. He did a lot of good. He helped a lot of people around the world who were suffering, did a lot of things at the best he could have done. But there's few mistakes maybe he made, and they ended up creating a bigger toll because of how the people he had with. The people were more messed up. These people took it as a whole another level. They used it for just extorting money, abusing people. They used that thing. They could have changed it. They could have done anything, but this was a whole joint effort.
So what do you say to a person who says, I believe Mubarak Ali Shah Gillani is the Sixth Sultan? What would you say to a person?
The best way to that person is that we tell him that if that person is coming to debate with you, or he's coming to talk to you about this belief, and the best way to do is, like when you all started this Return to Fitrah channel, that people from the Muslims of America should come on your channel and talk about their belief and clear it up. You all have been done years ago, you'd be like, oh, we got our answers. But there's no answer to it.
Yeah.
So this is going to go on for years.
So and so one of the things is like, so we try to be like, and we might be seem like we're harping on this question, but we want to make it clear, because you said you don't believe in it. You said it's shirk. So like, what would you clearly tell somebody? And they say, okay, I believe in it. And like, we can't, yes, we do ask them to bring evidence and this and that, but like, say for instance, say one of your children came and said, Abu, I believe in the 6 and 7 sultans. Like, what would you tell them about that belief?
But that is going to happen with everybody, because such as Islam has so many sectors as well. This turned out to be another sect of Islam. We have the Barelvis, we have the Deobandis, we have the Ahl-e-Tashis, it's all these branches. So this is a mini branch of Sufism with extra things added to it.
Gotcha.
So the best way I will tell someone is, you know what? I think the easiest way for a Muslim man is to read Holy Quran with translation and read the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And we have the 4 books of the scholars, Sahih Bukhari and all of those. We can use those as reference.
So we have your father on video saying that he was taught by Ali radiallahu anhu, the Sahaba, Ali, and that he was taken up as a baby and taught and brought back or whatever. So what are your thoughts about that statement? Do you believe it?
So I was not born. That's the first thing. So in those thoughts,
you said
I will say that
you have politicians in your family. Did you? Go ahead.
I'm not sure why Abu said that. There could be something could have happened, because as I said, that there's some mistakes he made, but there's a lot of good as well he did. Even if you come to Pakistan and you visit, you'll see the respect his family used to hold. Not anymore. We lost all the respect, but I don't know about that, how I can answer that. Because I believe that my father passed away, now his deeds are with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and my whole goal would be that if I can help the community to help him more, rather than messing him up more in the grave, that's my kind of goal.
That's very, very respectable. Very respectable, because I think any of us would want to take that position. You know, if a loved one, made the transition, we would definitely want the best for them and to be able to give them the best. You know, so yeah.
And no one's gonna judge them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you start following the Holy Quran and Sunnah, no one cares. It's your deen. You can do whatever you want. You can still be a community. But you just let go of all the things which are doubtful, because you cannot go publicly anywhere in the world and claim to be the 7th Sultan, or you speak to Allah Ta'ala, or the Prophet ﷺ came. If you can't do that in public, it means that there's something wrong.
Absolutely. 1000%.
We're going to let Amr go through some of the questions. There's something I want to bring up when we get through those, but I want to make sure we get through everybody's questions first.
Okay. What do you feel prevented your father from leaving a proper inheritance to you and your family?
Oh, what do I feel fit?
What do you feel prevented your father from leaving a proper inheritance, his will, to you guys and family, so that it led to this whole situation?
So he didn't prevent anything. He just trusted Noor in one regards. We trusted her also. I was in North America since 2011. And then she just decided to betray the family. That's the reality. She decided. And I got angry. My real anger came out because when our father died, 10 days after our father died, she sat all of us down and she said, in short terms, she said that if you all misbehave, I'm not going to give you anything. Even your own grandfather's property, I'm not even going to give you that. That's the day me and her got into an argument. That was the first day. So that's how it started. Everything was fine. Everybody was grieving. She didn't care about what, how, who was grieving. She was just like, I better let them know that I own everything. So that's how kind of it started. And whatever I'm saying, I can swear on Allah and His Rasul, and anything wrong I say, may Allah forgive me. Because I know the people in the community just make up stories. They're still going to say what I'm saying is all wrong. Now I'm going to be a betrayer or something for my life. They're going to label my name for something, but I don't care about them. They have to understand. I told their sheikha as well. I said, I'm done with you. It's finished. I know that you all are not real people. You're all fake. Because when my tough times came, you all turned your backs, and I'm happy that happened now, not when I was 70 years old or 80 years old. So that's one.
All right, on to the next question, inshallah. Why did your father not groom you to be a leader of the community?
He did. It's not that he didn't.
Okay.
I came to Pakistan 2-3 years ago.
Mhm.
He called to Noor. He was like, take a picture of him next to me, and he should be my Khalifa. He did, but I didn't care about. I told you that my mission was not to be a Khalifa or something. My mission in the community was you have to start from the small steps. My was cleanliness is our faith. If you can't stay clean and you say the best of Muslims, it just doesn't make sense. Do the basic, clean yourself, clean your yards. It doesn't matter if you're poor. There's people poor all over the world who are super clean. But so yeah.
Okay. Alhamdulillah.
If I wanted to be an admin, I had multiple chances. My father multiple times said it, but I always no, I don't care. I have never been officially an admin of Tmoa.
Okay. So someone said Sultan was part of the administration in Tmoa. There was some type of way to you that he was treated better than you in the community.
He was the admin, and look what happened to him. They played him. I used to tell him. I fought with some admins in South Carolina for my brother. I said, what you all are doing with him is wrong. You're just giving him a lavish lifestyle. You don't question him. Whatever he says, you do. And now what? They threw him to the side. It's all fake. It clearly, you can see, everybody can see it. They want to believe in it. They're going to believe till they die, ruin their kids, their grandkids, everything. It's not going to last that long, as I said.
Yeah, inshallah, it's not going to last that long, so we're not worried about that.
All right. Someone else asked, are there any good admins that would try to correct the wrongs with you? Be on your side, essentially.
No, all the admins I know were jammed totally. They just they just want that name. They want to be admins. It's not about anything else. It's a complex of identity or whatever we call it. It's just they want to be somebody in the world in those small circles.
I have a personal question, but I'm gonna let Amr get through the questions.
Okay, so someone said this is kind of off topic, but why don't Shafat and Ali have jobs? They need to take care of their families like normal people do.
No, Shafat has a job.
Okay.
Ali Bhai, I can say that he did have a business. He took some loans and he got messed up and he's been ill. He has some knee issues as well. Shafat does work. He's been working since he was 20 years old. One of our brothers who worked his entire life was Shafat. He does not like Noor. He does not like the community, but he doesn't have an option right now.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, Mudassar. I am the mother of 4 of Amin's children. Please let us know where he is buried for the sake of Allah.
Who? Excuse me?
It says, I am the mother of 4 of Amin's children. Please let us know where he is buried for the sake of Allah.
Muhammad Amin. Yes.
Okay. He's the guy who was hidden over here now.
Yeah. And if you can't say here, we could try to get the people in contact.
No, I can say it.
Okay, go ahead. Because I know
somewhere in Sargodha.
Okay. Is it okay for them to? Is there contact information they could reach out to you personally? Because I know they've tried to.
I don't know where he's buried because I only met him once. He was sent somewhere else. He was living under a guy named who works for Noor is Haji Ahmad.
Okay.
So he was living in his village, and I heard that he died over there. So he is somewhere over there.
Okay.
Okay. Real quick, I want to bring we got Uncle on the backstage. He wants to come on and ask this question.
All right, cool.
And I heard that.
There you go, Uncle. You should be live. There you go, Uncle. Can you hear us?
You gotta mute the screen, Uncle.
Yeah. You gotta mute. I don't think he can hear us.
Hey, Uncle.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Wow. Yep. Yep. Go ahead.
So let's let's go ahead and we need to help Unc on the side get it because I think he's got a video playing and then same time.
Yeah.
So
I
let's
got
go
one more last question from
to the
chat.
next question.
Do Fatima and Fatima feel the same way about the Jamaat that you do?
I don't think so. My mother still loves the Jamaat because most of her family was from the Jamaat. She still likes her Jamaat. She wants to be, I don't think she wants to be a part of the Jamaat. She just, that's all she knows was the people of the community. So many people still are. The people I know who are not a part, my in-laws, they're suffering also because that's all they know is the community. It's very hard for them to make that decision. I'm just young, and because of my kids, I had to take these stances so they can live as normal human beings.
Okay.
All they know is the community.
You can hear us now?
He still has the stream.
I'll talk to him. He's listening to the time delay. So, Uncle, mute your YouTube, and then when we're gonna put you back on. That way you can hear us.
Inshallah.
In a few minutes.
So real quick, while he's working on that, let me just get my question in real quick. So during the time of this past Ramadan, we got information that it was a bit of a scuffle. Why was Brother Ishmael and Ahmed Persons over there, and what were you all scuffling about?
So when Ismail came outside my house, I went to him as a brother. I gave him salams. I hugged him. I said, brother, this is not the place where you should be coming. I warned him. I said, I don't want you coming over here. I said, you staying on the land. Noor lives somewhere else. I don't think you should come over here. And then the next day, him and Ahmed Pearson come with I don't know how many people inside that van with their shades, Ray-Bans on, and chest puffed out, and started walking outside the house.
So what was the physical scuffle about? The physical interaction you all seem to have had? Seems like somebody pushed somebody or something like this.
That was the end. You all missed a lot.
Yeah. So let me just jump in here real quick because there's
that was the end. I don't want to say much because I gotta come to North America, but that was the end.
Okay, let's just say, if you and Ahmed Person were to get into just a friendly wrestling match, because wrestling is a sunnah, okay, just a friendly wrestling match. There was some debate on who would win the match. I mean, what do you think? Do you think you could take Ahmed Person?
You can ask him. But the main thing is that no, I know how to fight. That's one thing. I can take down 3 to 4 guys at one time. If those guys are well trained, not the military guys, but I know how to fight. When I was young, I used to get into a lot of fights, and I used to be a black belt, and I trained for other fights as well. So I know how to fight. They don't know how to fight.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're not going to say it, but we'll say it for you. We saw the end of the video, and we saw Ahmed kind of flying back, and he was recovering. So. So he got dealt with. Let's just say that.
Let me bring Unc on real quick. Here we go. Unc, can you hear us? Oh, he signed off. Okay. So real quick, I had I think we're done. Are we done with the questions, Amr?
Yes, we're done with the questions.
I think that's what. Well, there was one more. Hasina had a question. She said, "Where do you see your family in 20 years?" As Tmoa has been so intertwined with your inheritance and family relationships.
You're live.
That's the question. Oh, okay.
Yep, you're live. Go ahead.
Mudassar, I'm Ahmed's father. I sent you a message.
Oh, mashallah, TK.
You were a little boy in a carriage when I saw you in '99.
Oh,
but I just wanted to take the time. I sent you a message to apologize to you for Ahmed's actions. Okay, Ahmed wasn't born like that. He wasn't raised like that. Okay, and I just wanted to separate his actions from his upbringing. So I wanted to just come on and personally apologize to you for what he did at your home.
No, I hope Allah Ta'ala guides him, because at the end of the day, your father is everything, and he's the door to Jannah. There's no one above your father. That's one thing I'm not sure how he's also willing to let go.
Well, he doesn't talk to me.
My father died happy with me. I'm happy with that. So,
Alhamdulillah. May Allah bless you for what you're doing now. This will go a long way for the community.
Inshallah.
Trust me, it's people in the community that needed to hear this from you.
I agree with that. Yes, there's a lot of people in there.
And just to say what some of my nephews already told you, this was a very brave thing to do. Very brave. And we will support you. We got your back. Inshallah, you came on, you supported us. Just coming on the show, you supported us. So I just wanted to say that. Inshallah.
And to add on to what Unc just said, for sure, inshallah, you definitely have our support. If you come into the States, inshallah, we will take care of you.
Inshallah, no problem.
We'll take care of you. We'll
no
take care of
problem.
your family, inshallah.
So there was a question I got on the side. I have to ask this one because of the source. So what? And it's coming from a woman who wants to know, and like why such ill treatment was there between Noor and say like your mother and the other wives? Like, did they get along, or like why did Noor change and start? Really, it seems like she kind of attacked your mother and her children. That's what it kind of looks like from the outside. Is there any reason for that, or?
Yeah. The main reason was that Noor wanted everything to remain as it was when my father was alive. She was like, now I am the next Mubarak Gillani, and this is how the house should run. I'm going to be the main head. You're going to come and ask me if you want to drive the car. You got to come and ask me if you want to go somewhere. And I was like, we don't have to do that because the Holy Quran does not say that. When our father passes away, you're supposed to give us our inheritance and let us be on our way. But they didn't like that. They wanted to still keep the family as it was running as before. That's where all the ill treatment started.
And another question, this will be a quick one. We got another caller in, but real quick, a few people are asking, like, so what is it you do for work now as far as like income and stuff? Because it's different living inside the Jamaat versus outside. So what do you do now?
So at this moment, when I'm coming to Canada within a month or so, I work with my in-laws. Like I do events all over Ontario, like big concerts happen. I'm going to share some pictures. So I do big events where I make a lot of money. I have made up to $15,000 to $20,000 in 2 days. I worked as a satellite technician. I climbed towers as well, telecommunication towers. I worked with them for 3 years. I worked at sawmills. I worked at warehouses. I've built fences. I worked at construction sites. So since I came to North America, after 10 days, I was building fences in Toronto. So I never stayed back on work. I did get money from the community as gifts, but the amount I got, I gave it away as well. Anything I got. Now I don't, but that time, anything I used to get as a gift, I used to give it away.
Let me bring
yes.
Hang on real quick, Jaffer, because I actually before we bring on Jawad, real quick, because I actually gotta go. I gotta do some. I got an appointment, but I would like to say that sincerely. I know probably out of all of us here, probably, I mean, if you watch the show, I'm probably the most harsh against TMOA and really against your father and all these things. But I will say, wallahi, what Allah is the witness. You coming on and representing your father, and I think that for someone like me, probably was the hardest one against him. You have completely softened my heart. I'm not excusing the things that he's done, but I see the love of a son for his father, and you humanize him and show that, yeah, he made mistakes, but he wasn't perfect, but he was a human being. And so I think you've done your father a great service. And I would say personally, I will make dua for him, that Allah forgives him for his wrong and accepts whatever good that he did do. And I say that may Allah bless you. It really has touched my heart. And, if I didn't want to become a meme or just wind up on the internet or whatever crying, it really has touched me in that way, because I really feel that you love your father and that you have done him a great service. And so may Allah bless you. May Allah allow you to be an example for your children and for them to be better than us and better than you and better than your father, their grandfather, and do good works. And may Allah accept us all into Jannah. The people who are in TMOA, the people who have left and everything. And I hope that Allah makes you part of the reason why people come out of the things that they're doing wrong and start to do right. So may Allah bless you and accept your deeds. I appreciate you really. And I love you for the sake of Allah. Wallahi. I mean, this has caused me to have some love in my heart for you because of what you have done. And you really have changed my approach and my mentality. And so, I thank Allah for that. And I thank you. Alhamdulillah. May Allah bless you.
May Allah bless you.
So,
All right, bring Jawad on.
Assalamu
Big salam. All right, Jawad, you're on.
No?
Assalamu alaikum, Jawad.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Can you hear me?
Walaikum salam. Yep, we can hear you.
Wa alaikum salam.
Oh, okay. I don't know if there's any video. I don't know if you can see it.
No video.
Okay, cool. MashaAllah. uh, Mudassar, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
I want to just call in with just a comment for you. I just want to say something to you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, and may He protect you and protect your family, and may He grant forgiveness to your father. May He make His grave wide. One of the things that and also may you be the light of His eyes, inshallah. But one of the things that I wanted to say to you is that in my life in Tmoa, right, there's only 2 times I've ever heard anyone say that they were sorry for anything.
Yep.
Only 2 times I've ever heard an administrator say, "I am sorry" or "I apologize." The first time was Brother Hasib, Rahmatullah. He's now passed away. He said to me once at my son's basketball game, he said, "Son, we're sorry for the way we raised you." And he gave me a hug. And he was already a power player. He already lost his legs. He was already in a wheelchair. And when I first tuned in, I haven't listened to the whole documentary, but I listened to the part that you spoke, and you made an apology. Just say, if there's anything wrong that my father did, I'm sorry. And I think that to me that felt like, as somebody who has existed in the community and left and had my family broken apart and all sorts of things that have happened, it was a very profound moment for me. It felt like I felt it in my heart. It's actually bringing me to tears. So I wanted to thank you very much for, in my understanding, relieving me of a tremendous burden by hearing that. It echoes throughout generations just hearing it. To me personally, to hear you say that, and I only wish the best for you and your family. And whatever animosity I've ever held towards administrators and people and things that have happened to my family and my friends, I let it go. Once I heard that, it was gone. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just allowed me to let it go. And I'm very, very grateful for that. So I wanted just to call in, just to thank you personally for many people who are no longer in Islam, many people who have lost their way, young men and women who are on drugs, who left the community, who were thrown out, who no one has ever said sorry to. No one has ever looked at them and said, yeah, we shouldn't have done that. And I think what you did just in that comment has affected me, and I'm very grateful for it. So may Allah bless you and bless your family. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
I mean,
Wa alaikum salam.
Can we get to this last question? I don't want to sidestep it. Sister Hasina, I believe Mubarak was trying to get to it.
yeah. Where do you see your family in 20 years? As Tmoa has been so intertwined in your inheritance and your family relationships.
20 years, hopefully a good Muslim and driving a Bentley. Work hard, that's all it is.
You inherited that from your father. You like nice cars.
Rolls Royce something. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, I'm hoping to come back to the States and start working, because I do have a degree in computers. So my plan is to.
Now I want to kind of inject what I wanted to say to you, and we've talked about this a lot internally on the people that have come on, and I can't. What you've done is really kind of a loss of words. We're not going to be able to really. It's similar to when we had Uncle MJ on, when he said what he said, but oftentimes people could say things and it really is not heard until the right person says it. And I think what you're doing, and because of whether you like it or not, I know, and I get this from you, that you're a person that you don't really want to be a leader. You don't want to be an administrator. You just want to live your life, be a good person and all that. However, that is a strong sign of actually being a good leader, which you might not actually want to step in those shoes. And I'm putting this to you because we've held the position, or myself and others have held the position, that the best person or the best people to lead Tmoa out of a lot of the bad things and the false things that they're doing or believing in is actually you and your siblings. And I know I seen your sister Fatima was in the chat, and you guys have whether you like it or not, been the leaders within your family of trying to get people to do what is right, even though people have stood against you. So I'm putting this to you as something to consider. And there's a lot of stuff that goes involved in it because you have your family, you have your own well-being, and all these different things that you have to deal with. But there's people in TMOA that feel exactly how you feel exactly how I feel, but they are stuck because they don't know anything else. But if they actually had an alternative, like, okay, I can leave here and go to this place and still be protected and still have a community and still see people I love and that I grew up with, they would leave it in an instant. And I say that because I don't know what the possibilities are of that. You and people that think like you and other family members that are on the same page of like, because there's a lot of potential in TMOA. Like there's nothing in America really that exists like TMOA as far as people that live in a community outside. So your father did do a great job of establishing this. If you say, for instance, I'll give you a hypothetical. If you were to come back and there was a land in TMOA that said, we will have you here, we will welcome you, we will protect you. And if you started, like if you said, you know what, we're going to start something new and different and have people come together that the money stays in the community and we pick our own leaders and all these different things, I believe a lot of people from TMOA would flock. Whether you like that position or not, I believe that you are in a position to make that choice of whether you want to do that or not. So just something to consider.
My goal won't be ever trying to start a community. I will try my best to let people know that they should follow as an example again, Quran and Sunnah. If they want to be guided, they can read the Holy Quran with the easy translation. They can get the Seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. They can study that because our Prophet ﷺ has also been through a lot of things. They got to see how he reacted to it. How did he use this problem and came out of it? This is nothing hard. They're just worried about the social lifestyle of their kids, the social lifestyle of their families. But you just got to move on. Go for swimming. Go do subboarding or something.
Yeah.
The community vibe, I think this is 2024.
Yeah.
That's finished now.
Alhamdulillah.
We got one more question off the sideline. One more question before we wrap up. So what is your position or what are your thoughts about the place Lahut Lamakan? I mean, we have to ask this question. Forgive us. I
really don't know about that place. There's just something. I think it's a Sufi thing. They believe that you go in that place when you're doing tasawwuf and all of that.
Yeah.
And doing tasawwuf, you can. The tasawwuf is not an ibadah which was done by the Prophet, but still when people do it, they do go into a different world, but that's called daydreaming as well. Because the best of ibadat was done by our Prophet ﷺ. There's no one on earth who's going to come and ever do better ibadat than him. This is what the community members need to know. So they can do as much ibadah as they want. They can innovate, they can try different types of ibadah, but that's not an ibadah which our Prophet ﷺ did. And they believe, and we all believe, that he was the one who did the best of ibadah, so we should follow the ways he did ibadah. Make namaz all night. Simple as that.
So real quick, just before we're gonna give you the final word, and you can give your message to the TMOA members and the current leaders. But real quick, I just want to say real short, thank you. Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless you. I don't want to repeat what Mubarak said because he covered it perfectly, but my sentiments exactly. You've changed my perspective on a lot of different things. I ask Allah to forgive Yabu. I don't hold any grudge against him for anything that he may have been involved with me and my family. May Allah forgive him. May Allah bless him. May Allah forgive and bless all of us. And may Allah bless you. And I'm very proud of you. Love you for the sake of Allah. And I hope that we can work together in the future to try to help people as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. And you can give the final word of the show to the people. And then we'll close out after that.
First of all, I'll repeat the same thing to the people that they should forgive my father if they believe that he has done anything wrong to them. They believe that his admins or he personally has abused them, and because he has passed away, and the best they can do is hope for the best for him. And I guess that should be all. My brain is done.
All right, alhamdulillah.
But I said it in throughout the 2 hours. I did say what I had to say. So
good. Alhamdulillah. And if there's anything else, or if there's any other topics like you ever want to come back, we're welcome to have you. We consider you part of us, part of the ummah of Rasulullah. We all love it for the sake of Allah. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, we're going to get a lot of views on this. A lot of people are going to be commenting and all that. And we really appreciate you doing this. And, you know, alhamdulillah. And Amr, you want to close us out?
Yes, I will. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.